Glenn, without further ado, what inspired you to start creating videos for real estate?
Well, I think when I got into real estate, I thought that everyone looked the same, right? And I didn't mean that physically looking the same, that everyone was doing the same thing, right? They were posting just solds, open houses. And I wanted to do something different. And I wanted to stormtroop the town that I was in. So I wanted to take over the percentages of listings. And I knew the only way to do that was to be in everyone's face all the time.
Okay. And so when you say everybody looked the same, can you, I guess, expand on that just a bit?
Yeah. So if you scroll through most realtors' feeds, you're going through and it's like open house, just listed, or some KCM marketing ad that's generic, right? And I wanted it to hit their feed and then to be like, let me look at that. Let me see why this person's a little bit different. And the other thing was, it's the whole know, like, and trust, right? So if people see your face, they have a very different perspective than if they're just seeing a static post. And I caught back then, I visited Edge for Tom Ferry. And one of the things that they said was that 80% of content by 2024 will be video content. And I was like, well, that's fine. And that's good. And I can't change what I look like. So I'll just do it the way I'm going to do it. Right? I'm not Brad Pitt. So I was like, yeah, I'll just do these videos and see how it works.
Fantastic. And I guess if they say a picture is worth 1,000 words and a video must be worth like 1,000,000 pictures.
Yeah, and Rob, I think one thing that I took from corporate life in terms of I use it in video was that micro expressions, the things that we don't intentionally show on video, and you can't do that in a static post. So people will know whether you're a good person or not just by simply seeing how your facial expressions map out, and you can't do that in a static post, right? You can't show someone what you're about unless you're actually in motion.
Hold on, I get technical difficulties here. All right, I'm back. So Glenn, do you caption your video for higher SEO?
Yes, it depends on the video content though. Sometimes I don't want that. It's all about what platform and what you're trying to accomplish. If you're doing reels, I would absolutely do it because most people are watching them and they probably aren't listening to them. Some do, but many don't. But if I'm doing some kind of long form content, I'll usually cut it up into different parts. So it really is specific to the media type and also what I'm showing. Like I wouldn't do a town tour and have captions because I want them to see the town. But if I'm doing something that is educational, I absolutely want them to see the captions so they can read it as they go. And comprehension is much better, right?
So the why, I'm just going to kind of check the boxes here. So the why you use video is to get a stronger message. And I imagine if you take like an average, let me just get the background noise off here. I'm going to mute everybody. Okay, everybody's muted now. You don't want to unmute yourself. So like if you were to do a paragraph or two from what a 30 or 45-second video is, I'm going to guess most of us wouldn't read an email that long, right?
100%.
So you're able to then get a message across. And do you know, Glenn, from back in the day, what percentage of communication is nonverbal? Just outside of the words, it's the emotion and the tonality. What do you think that is?
I've heard 80%. I don't know if that's true.
I think it's 93% is the one I've heard over and over again. So that means that you're getting, what's that, like 14 times the impact by having the tonality and the expression.
Yeah.
Now, the next question is, where do you use your video and how much of the video are you able to repurpose?
So video is tricky because there's a lot of different places that you do them, right? So sometimes I'll promote businesses and that video has a certain utility when you're promoting the business. And some people overcomplicate this or overproduce it. I will tell you, in all video, other than things that are like town tours and very specific. The videos that are raw, not overproduced, not with super expensive cameras, like if you just use your cell phone, those have the highest performance for me. I have, it's anything that's produced usually has a much lower performance. So, and that's because people want real. There's so much produced stuff out there that they want to see you. So if I go in and do a restaurant tour, I go in and, you know, restaurateurs are nervous people and they're not very good at talking. They're very good at making food for people, right? So I'll walk in and I have 3 questions. I ask them the 3 questions, act like I'm recording, though I'm not. And then I'll ask them the 3 questions again and I'll record, and they're done in a minute. It's not this long drawn out, I brought in a film and production crew. And those are some of the highest performing videos you'll have. That video's utility goes on to Facebook, local markets, things along those lines. But I wouldn't post that video on LinkedIn because a person in Albuquerque, New Mexico doesn't care about pizza in Boonton, New Jersey, right? So it's platform specific, it's video specific, and the video content runs everything from humor, education, satire, town tours. I have a Segway and a wing bike that I go around on and do videos. So it really does vary.
So in terms of, you know, where do you use video in your real estate? I know you've done some, you know, video productions for listings. I've seen some commercial ones that have been done very well with drones and interior tours. And I don't know if this is the first use of video, Glenn, but I know early on you were very system oriented. So you want to teach each team member how to do something. So you would send them a video on how to do it. Is that the beginning of your video, or were you pushing video out to the public before that?
I was pushing video out to the public, but Rob, if I look at a day, right, a day of interaction, I'll do videos. Like this morning, I did video for a while, and maybe the best way to do it is to kind of show it to folks. Do you think that's fair? Maybe I'll share out my screen and I'll show.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so give me 1 second here. I'll bring up my desktop, and I won't be able to see you guys while I'm doing this. But so a day for me is one, and when I reply to emails, generally I don't reply with text. My rule is if it's longer than 2 lines, it shouldn't be an email. Because no one has the attention span. So I send tons of videos out, and I just want to make sure you guys are seeing my screen. Yep. All right. So expired, for instance, I'll hit expires early in the morning. This is one of my expired videos. And this one actually got me a listing appointment.
Hey, Thomas, Glen Baker here. You are about to get an onslaught of phone calls from agents that have no idea what they're doing. So I'm going to talk to you for a minute about the listing that you just put up. Well, first of all, it's not seen by anyone because on all the syndication engines, you only have 10 pictures. 10 pictures is ranked at the lowest on all the charts. So when people are coming to look for your home, they don't have enough pictures. I'm not sure why there wouldn't be at least 20 pictures on such a beautiful, large property. Lastly, it looks like there is no data here. So even the write-up is a little bit sketchy. For a home of your value, that write-up should be beefy, should be.
So I'll do video. Well, like this is this year's. I've done 817 videos so far, and some of these are reused again and again. Bomb is my reply. It's my offer submission. So whenever I submit an offer, I never ever submit it without a bomb video telling about what my offer would be. So, and agents tell me all the time that that's a huge differentiator. And also you just have to make sure that you're not walking the line. This isn't a replacement for anything that's going to be a fair housing violation. This is merely you explaining the offer as if you were sitting and presenting it in person, but you get to do that with your face. And usually I'll always end it saying that I get to the closing table and I'll do my part, and people do it. Now, one other thing you'll notice here in this video, I'm holding up my phone, and what you do is if you put the person's name, the app is called Make It Big. So the app is called Make It Big. I do not recommend you Google search that. You're not going to be happy with the results. Go to the App Store and search Make It Big. But if you see that, you're going to open it because you know that the message is for you. So I do that for all my videos that are, blind videos going to someone, so that they know this is a video for you. It isn't some produced thing that's not for you. Very, very important in terms of how I use BombBomb. I'll stop for a second, Rob, and then I'll continue through the day here.
So what's the ones with the numbers versus some of them you put text on them?
I was too lazy to name them.
Okay, so just the default, huh?
Yeah, so let me bring that back to KV Core. So if you're looking at KV Core here, when you're in a contact record and I want to go send a video, basically down here is where the video gets entered. This is BombBomb integrated with KV Core. If I don't name it, it just drops to a name, and then I have to go back and find it. If I name it, then it's not a number. So the ones that you see with numbers are from KV Core.
Fantastic. Thank you. So I think next, you want to do, how do you come up with content, and maybe even talk a little about storytelling, or you want to go to equipment first? What do you think is more logical?
Yeah, I think one thing, Rob, that's important is I'm a believer that video, and all video, is good video as long as you would watch it. So my general rule, and we say this with the team all the time, is if you would watch it, then it's good content to put out. If you would not, don't put it out. It's that simple, right? So a good recommendation is on the listing side. A lot of listing agents do not want to spend the extra money it takes to produce a video up. And when I say produce a video up, I'm not talking about the Ken Burns effect. I'm talking about an actual video of the home, right? That you can see as I'm putting on the screen here. And when I say doing a video, I mean like really doing something that's true video. This is not static photography.
Baker here, Morris Agent Team at
And then
Select. Here
we'll
at
do an
11
intro to
October
every
at
single
30.
video. Yes, it costs a lot of money, but there's two things that it does for you as a listing agent. One, it shows that you do high-end marketing, right? Two, whatever you spent, 50% of that spend is for the house, 50% is for you, right? Marketing you, because you're in the video. So one of my recommendations in all video is you need to be in the video. I don't care if it's with your dog. I don't care if it's with your kids. You need to be in the video because your face recognition is important. So I think when we talk about the types of content and storytelling, there's a lot of different formats out there that people use. So for me, I really like Facebook Live. That's where most of my tribe comes from. And the reason for that is every time you do it, it pops up on anyone that's a friend or someone that's watched your content before. It tells them you've gone live. People get far too hung up on the fact that, oh, I have 5 people only watched while I was on the live. But remember, the live lives on. As long as you say to keep it on Facebook, it goes on forever. So when I look at my Facebook, I mean, I have past live videos. These are all past live videos. These are not scripted. They are not produced, and they come across as very, very genuine, straight to the point. You'll notice some of them have view counts of 190 or so. I literally, because of these live videos, and there's a difference between a post and a live, right? A live brings it up and it says that it's on your feed. It will show up in the feed, but it tells everyone that you've went live. So they know in general it's not produced. Now, I can produce live videos. I can post them up and make it look like it's live, even though it's not, through some engines. But the impact of live is incredible. You'll notice there's no captions. They generate a longer form video, but they can be educational, right? So housewarming gifts, sorry, not starry. Look at this. I mean, look at the count of this one. Zestimates are for fools, like captions that really help. I syndicate lives out to 3 different places. So 2 Facebook pages and another. I use a tool called StreamYard. If you're looking for a tool to stream that is uber easy, StreamYard is a tool that you'll use to do lives and focus them out to YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, and some other syndications. And you could do 3 streams at one time under their base plan. All you need is your phone. You don't need anything more. You can do the entire stream from your phone. You don't need any special cameras, special mics. And so that kind of is where the storytelling comes. Now, the content is always based on something that happens to me, right? So it could be based on, and I have to tell you, like, I'm the first person to say, if I'm not for you, that's cool, because there's others that I'm for, and I'm okay with that, right? You have to be of that mindset, because there's going to be people that put some brutal stuff on your post. Just be prepared for it when you do a video. And that is the general nature of everything. We see these Karens all the time. They're everywhere, right? Whether it's in the supermarket or on your video. So just my take is that the tribe find its way. The people that watch are either going to like it or not. And I'm going to put the content out. And I'm competing against me, no one else. So my suggestion is, when you come into this, just know that there are some of those out there. I know everyone's thinking, oh my goodness, I don't want to see how I look on a camera. Oh, look at my hair. Oh, this or that. No one cares. I'll tell you right now, no one cares. They care about your facial expressions. They care about how genuine you are. They care that you care. And they care that you have a message that's relevant to them. The challenge is you can't just go on video and not communicate a subject matter fast. We have very short attention spans, right? So pauses and all the ums and ahs. And when I do a video, I can tell when I'm off. If I'm a little tired, I can tell that I'm saying or ah a lot. And I'll have friends text me and go, not your best work. Like I'll literally that. And but on one hand, I'm like, you watched it. That's all I think to myself is, haha, you watched it. On the other hand, I'm like, okay, lesson learned. I got to do this in the morning, not at night, so I can make a better video, right? But no one really cares what you look like. What they do care is that your video quality is fairly crisp. It can't be dark. It can't be dim. And they want to know that your audio is intelligible, right? You don't want to be on a busy street recording audio and thinking that people are going to tolerate trying to figure out what you're saying. Maybe captions is an answer for that, but good quality audio can be captured at a pretty cheap cost. So subjects, Rob, I included in the document that you shared a bunch of different topics that I've put down recently. I'm doing one right after this call on as is, right? And I'm going to literally just go off the top of my head. So if you're selling your home as is, here's the pros and cons, realtors and sellers, right? And it's super simple. We have this knowledge in our heads about all these different topics, and we're not sharing it. And people want it shared. They want to know. And I say to the team, all you need to be is 10% more knowledgeable than the other person, and you're an expert. Like they know nothing different, right? So put it out there and use something that you've experienced, whether you've had a home inspection issue, whether you've had an attorney that drove you nuts, whatever it may be, share it, and then tell the world about how they avoid it or do something with it. I'll answer any questions, Rob.
Do we have any questions? So I'm going to
Actually, Glenn, I just have a quick question. When you're telling these stories about things that have happened to you, you're not personalizing them to the extent of who the contractor was or who the attorney was or anything like that.
Correct. Yeah, you have to generic it down a bit. You don't want anyone to say now everyone, but here's the great question, Bob. So the problem is everyone takes it as their own. So I did that and he's calling me out, right? You can't avoid some of that. People are going to be that way. So my take is do what you think is right. And I'm hoping that the moral compass is right for all of us, right? Being realtors. But when you put the content out, it's never this person. And I once saw that an agent called another agent out like by name on the video. I was like, oh wow, like that is not good. But just remember that generic content, it doesn't mean that like I had one where I talked about capitalization of letters, right? And that with the new millennials and above, that's yelling at them, right? So I looked at it like I'm helping people. They don't know. No one's told them that. The ire that it drew was phenomenal, right? So my message might not have been delivered exactly the way that I would if I redid it, but people did change. And now they're not going to be, their listing isn't going to be bypassed by someone who thinks that they're yelling at them. Like I genuinely thought the topic was great. How I delivered it, probably not my best work. But the intent wasn't any one person. It was a generic thing because my son called me up and said, Dad, why does this agent do everything in caps? He goes, don't they understand that in my generation, you're yelling at me? And I said, they probably didn't know, Brendan. I'm going to do a video on that. And that's how my stories come about, right? And I think that's the content that love it or hate it, it's for your tribe or it's against it, but that's the way it comes about. Someone's going to make it their own and think that you're coming after them in some way sometimes.
and Glenn, it sounds like you are always thinking about your audience and the unique audience that you have and not trying to play to everybody, right? You said a couple of times, hey, I'm not for everybody, I want to identify where I stand, right? So does your content creation come off of your belief on who your audience is?
It does 100%. And my delivery is to those folks. Now, if you grab some from outside of that and they become a part of the fam, then that's awesome, right? That's what it's all about. But I'm okay with people not liking some of my content or my content at all. But I'm also okay with the people that do. Man, it's something. And Rob, you asked the question earlier, like what made me finally really commit to video? And when I got into the business, I do things in 90-day cycles. And the 90-day cycle that I had was I'm going to do a video a day. And I was doing these once a week, going out to local restaurants. And I did a video in a restaurant. And my video counts were miserable. And I don't want anyone to get hung up on counts because they're important, but they're not as important because people do see your stuff if your counts aren't super high. That's the way the algorithm works. But I put up this video, nothing. I was at day 62, about to quit. I'm like, this just isn't working. And I said, I'm just going to keep going. I go to a restaurant sitting by myself eating, and a guy walks up to me. He goes, "Hey, you're the guy on that video." And I thought to myself, somebody actually does watch. And I stuck with it. And then it got to the point where, like, when I'm on Main Street booting, I hide in corners of restaurants because people are always coming up to me and saying, "You're the guy, like you did the coffee one, you did this." And it's, I've been called the mayor and things, and it's all because of video. It's not because I put up static posts, right? And I do static posts just like every other agent, but I just intermingle it with a lot more content to it. That's important, I guess, the way to put it.
So,
And, go ahead.
so Glenn, one of the things is, how do you decide the length of the video? I know you said most videos you need to keep it short because your attention span is low, but does that mean that some videos you go a little bit deeper because maybe it's a really like long thread topic that only people that are really interested are going to listen to?
That's exactly right. So long form content does work. It just has to be on the right media. If you're going to do a Facebook post, then you can do that. If you're going to do a reel, it's not going to work because you're limited to 1 minute and 30 seconds now on Facebook. So you have different audiences. If I want to go for a younger audience, I'm going to make sure it's rapid fire, under 60 seconds, and it has pure bang. It's not going to be a bunch of, "Hi, this is Glen Baker from the Remax Select Rockaway office." Nobody cares. They're there already. They're seeing you. You don't have to put any of that stuff in there because they already know it because they're on your page, right? So it's very specific and it's hard. I remember I sat down, we do video with one of my agents who's part-time on Tuesday nights. And we sat down and he was trying to give a message about VA loans. And it was this long diatribe about VA loans. And I go, hold on, let's revamp this. It has to be condensed. You have to have impact, right? And that's what our lives are now, right? Short messaging wins every time. So I said to him, the veterans have already paid their down payment by enrolling in the military, right? And that became our gist of that, opposed to this 1 minute long saying that you should accept a veteran loan because we just said they already paid their down payment. That's why it's 0% down. And that condensed piece has become on fire in terms of our sphere and our audience, right? So it's about deducing it down. And that's the hardest part about video right now, is that you have the attention span of a squirrel and you have to interrelate with that. So
what's an example of a long form video that you did?
I've done videos on septic systems, explaining them. I've done videos on siding on homes, how siding should be installed properly. I've done video on, I did one video, which was awesome. It was VA loans and it was 7 minutes long. And I started off the video and I said, "Hey, everyone, I'm going to tell you 5 things about VA loans. And if you stick to the end, I'll give you 2 tips on how to craft your offers." So I put that video up thinking no one will watch the whole thing. I don't really watch my YouTube stats like I should. I get a call 2 days later. 2 agents said, "Thank you so much for the 2 tips at the end. We won our VA offer after losing for 8 months." So it works.
Do you ever have a guest on? Would you ever put like a lawyer or somebody on for a 60-second like interview? It'd be helpful.
You see my screen? So
Yes.
we just did a podcast and I had a guest on and I said, what's your talent? And the guy plays in a band. So in the podcast studio, we did a duet, a little bit of a duet, right? This hasn't been released yet, by the way, but it was the end of our podcast, right? And what made him unique? I have 2 going this week. I said to them, "Hoo, you got big shoes to fill, podcasters," because I just had a guy play guitar and the guy goes, "Well, I cook." I go, "Well, then you better bring lunch and we're doing the podcast over lunch," right? So it's finding what people are good at and letting them show it. And Chris is exceptionally good looking, talented. Everything else is going for him. I look like a lump on a log on the couch, but man, he's a lender. He's knowledgeable and he's going to come across in the video so well.
What were some of the controversial topics you had that you said some people got pissed off at? And by the way, this is one of the best masterminds I've heard in a long time. I appreciate you. Thank you. So ones that people get pissed at are generally it's my agent ones. And look, for everyone on the call, whenever I put out an agent video, it's always about elevating us, right? Because I got into this business because I had a really bad agent. And got me into trouble and I didn't like it. And I want us to elevate and the rising tide brings all, boats, right? So I think that the
I put out a video that was related to yelling. And I had said, if you are typing in all caps, it's the equivalent of yelling. And man, I got a lot of crap for that. I'm not gonna lie. And it was, my goal was to say, my son just called me as a young buyer saying that you're doing this, right? So I said, all right, I'll put the message out. Other ones, let's see. I'm just trying to.
Hey, Glenn, I'm going to mute everybody if you can unmute yourself.
Okay. Yep. No. So other ones are generally things talking about digital marketing. So, you know, digital is a strange term and most people don't understand it. And I'm very heavy digital. So you're not going to see me on a billboard, but you're going to see me in your Facebook feed, right? And I'm very vocal about where I think that digital piece is going. And some agents who have postcard campaigns take it the wrong way. Like, it works for you, like run with it. I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just saying this is what I'm preaching, just like you'd preach your postcard. So that type of stuff is generally the stuff that people get pissed. Otherwise, on my tribe side, they're not. And maybe, and I look, agents are a little more sensitive, I think, than my clients. I do not ever suggest anything political. I do not suggest anything like that. But I will give you a little tip. If you're going to launch a listing, social media is about engagement, right? So think of it this way. Someone says hi on your social media post. You don't reply. That's the equivalent of walking by them in a hallway and ignoring them. Kind of like that movie Liar Liar, where the guy goes in, you're not important enough to remember. Like that's what you're saying to that person, that you don't matter enough to reply to, right? Now, Facebook and Instagram, those replies give you engagement. So when you go and say, here's a heart and cool, love it, fire, whatever you put, that is an engagement. People need to look at that like you're sitting at a coffee shop going, hey, bro, love the thing, good stuff. That's the same thing. So when you post a video that gets a lot of interaction, I just put up a picture. So I'm putting up a listing and I'm starting to build up my engagement running up to the listing. I'll generally put something up that's either super cool looking or a little bit controversial. And the reason is people engage with those posts more than others. So when they do that, engagement goes up. Facebook goes, hey, this guy's trending a little bit better. I'll show his stuff to more people. And so you'll always see a little bit of a controversial post right before I put a listing post up because it boosts my engagement.
So
what equipment do you recommend that you have that we would have to get to do this? What do you have?
So iPhone. I'm an iPhone guy, a Mac guy. Your phone is it. I mean, if you were starting out doing video, get good lighting. You can get a ring light in the document that Rob's going to share. I suggested a tripod that you can buy for like 14 bucks, a ring light for another 15 bucks. And that's your starting point. Just always make sure that you have good audio.
Glenn, you want to stop sharing your video, and this way we could be better engaged.
I just want to show one more thing, Rob, before I do that, because I'll keep it off for the rest of it. So our team members are video forward. Rob mentioned, I think in the intro to this, that we're up 200% this year, and we were up 33% last year, right?
Yep.
And you can tell it's a terrible market, right? But I look at it like market share. We put up engaging stuff. So this is my son, Ryan. He has a post, right? And this is the type of content.
Your team lead is also your fire chief.
Right? And then he'll say, does your realtor do that? Right? Or if I turn this one off, we've got Steven, right? So Steven has the Van Ness cribs.
I know you've been, I know you've been, I know you've been.
What's going on, everybody? Today we are at the Lake Forest Yacht Club. This is episode 1 of.
So that's his cribs video. And then this, Catherine did a video, which was I got to tell you how this was generated, right? So our new studio kicked off live. Catherine got in the studio. She used ChatGPT to map her lyrics to a song and then did the song. And this one has generated like 4 million in opportunities, this one video. Oh, and by the way, 29 views. Don't be deceived by 29 views, right? So this one was killer.
You need a new crib? Yeah, I got you. I'm a realtor, yeah. That's what I do. I'll find you a spot.
with a sea view and a kitchen so big you can cook for your group. I sell houses kind of.
So I just want to point that when we talk about video, it's everything we do. This is prospecting to us. This isn't, I want to tell the world all the good things I did in terms of selling a house, or I had 45 people outside my house. I actually think that messaging is bad for us because it scares off buyers. But I believe that video first is everything. And I'm going to show one more example, then I'll close it out, Rob. So when someone comes to our open houses, they get a link sent to them via text. And this is what it says.
Thanks for visiting my open house. Did you know that only 4% of open house visitors purchase that home? Is this one the right one for you?
And then if they say, I want it.
Great. Why don't you click the video button over here and we'll connect right now and get your offer details together.
And if they click this, it connects me directly to video to them right then and there. So when I say video first, I'm not kidding. I mean, genuinely video first. Okay.
So Glenn, like, how do you do any paid promotion of videos?
If something catches wheels, I do. So if something really starts to go, I had a video where I was rebuilding a rock wall, and it was when I had a couple of 5 listings coming on that week, and it started to catch some heat behind it in terms of views, and then I threw money behind it. But I don't, generally speaking, very little money spent. My total marketing budget spent on video and video promotion last year was $6,000.
So what do you think are like the top 3 questions that people ask you after they buy a home when they call you up and say, hey, Glenn, by the way, I forgot to ask?
Oh, contractors, who do you have that can help me with X, right? Something along those lines. Where can I find my documents and stuff? Because people generally lose that stuff and I always have them in a repository. And then I think the last one is, what's my home's value?
Gotcha. Let's see. A couple of ideas that come to mind here now is if you've ever had a seller that had something like an underground oil tank decommissioned, now they have to pull it out. How many times have you had to explain that one in real life, if ever?
Yeah, I actually have a campaign that's associated with that. I have a video made for it that I get sent out from KV Core to clients.
Okay.
Yeah.
And another one that would probably be interesting is, you know, if the hot water heater breaks the day after I close, do I have any recourse against the seller? Or questions like that I've seen happen in cases where people are like, hey, is there any type of like an implied warranty when you buy a house, right, on anything?
Yep.
I think that would be interesting. I know John Luca, I don't know if you're still on, John, had asked a question. What are the 3 questions you ask the restaurateurs?
Oh, that's an excellent question. Keep it simple. And generally speaking, it's, where are you located and what are your hours, right? Because I want them to promote the business. I'm there to promote their business. So where are you located? What are your hours? What is the most commonly ordered item? And that could be for coffee. That could be for almost anything. It could be for a candle shop, right? And then what is the secret item that you want to tell the world about? Like, what's your special thing?
Okay. Fantastic. Wanted to ask you about trends. I know that, you know, technology tends to move really quickly. Are you seeing any trends in the video just since you've been doing them over the 2 to 3 years?
Oh yeah, I mean, it went from, so this year is the year of video. You can tell, right? If you look at Facebook, almost every realtor of some kind is putting up some kind of video, and the trend is high quality, super engaging, mint audio, mint video. So it better be like 4K. It better be super high quality audio, or people aren't going to watch. They're not going to tolerate it, because there's a bunch of folks doing that. And if you're coming on and it's a dark room and they can barely see you and your lips are barely moving, those days are over. That's, Rob, a lot of people ask me, why did you invest so much in the studio? And I'll pan around the studio before we get done with this so everyone can kind of see what I mean. But I invested in it because I knew that this year people would be grappling for business because it's hard to get because the volume's down, right? And I knew that if we were to put high quality video out, that's super important, right? And that's the way that we marketed it. But I think high quality, great audio, and it doesn't cost a lot of money to do that. And people are so easy to go out and subscribe to something for $70 a month and they won't go out and buy a $300 great quality camera or mic. It's crazy to me.
So what background are you using for Zoom and in your podcast?
This is a real background. So I'm going to pan my camera to give you a feel for what I've got here. So this is, this camera is actually a cool camera. It adjusts with me. So if I go over here, it follows me, like you can see. So this is it's a AI based camera that follows me around. It's a little unwieldy. Sometimes it doesn't do what I want it to do. And I'm like out of center and stuff. But like right now, my head is a little higher than I want. I could go like this and it will stay, but then it zooms in. So that's the camera. The background behind me is a gray painted wall in the Morristown office. And what I've done is I have over here, this is a camera, this is a light. And that's green. And over here is a blue one. And that's shining. Up above me, I have a key light, it's called. And then I have a fill light right here.
So how long before you got to the point of adding all these components, Glenn, and how did you learn about it?
I went down the rabbit hole on YouTube and studied and studied. Our office here has been in production about 8 weeks. Just so that I can put into perspective, this is probably not what everyone's going to do dollar-wise. I spent around $15,000 all said and done on the equipment here. And that includes podcast stations, video stations. There's a lot of stuff that you normally wouldn't have if you're just doing video. But on the other side of it, since the studio has come live, we've attributed $10 million in inventory to video alone, directly from video.
It's a pretty good ROI, huh?
Oh, all day long. Now my wife doesn't think I'm crazy. I'm sleeping back in the bed again.
Now, Glenn, what if an agent's not so tech savvy? Do you have any advice to, the agent that's not iPhone, huh?
The answer is iPhone. The quality of this phone, 13 or 14, I wouldn't suggest popping out your BlackBerry and doing this, but iPhone 13 or 14 all day long. And there's so many simple attachments to this that you don't need to be a rocket scientist. I think everyone knows how to take a picture with a phone. All you're doing is taking a video. My tip for you is always shoot high, not low, because if you shoot low, like if it's below you, you're going to have a double chin, triple chin. If you go high, you usually look a little bit better. And also, if you can get a distance with the camera a little bit, people will know that it's not a selfie, and it takes a little bit of getting used to. I actually carry with me what I'll call the intermediate kit. I carry it in my backpack with me because I do a lot of video and I'm opportunistic when it comes about. I'll walk up to someone, I'm like, dude, that was a great story. Let's do it right now. And it's a different type of video. And that setup is probably about $1,000, includes some gimbals and audio mics and stuff like that. But Rob, it's one listing. Like, I mean, it's just a no-brainer. $1,000 to get a listing. It's like.
And Glenn, have you gotten some of your clients to engage on video and share some of their stories, or I haven't seen a lot of that yet?
Yes. So I do like mostly for Homes for Heroes. I do a lot of Homes for Heroes. So those are the ones that I do. And I usually get them for production up on the website. A lot of times when we're at the closing table, I'll capture a little bit of footage and then I'll put it out to folks. But remember, the one thing is that whenever you're with the client, they're the hero, you're not the hero. So you're not talking about how you sold the house. You're talking about what was their outcome. They're the hero. So always make sure that that's the case, because people don't want to hear the bully for me. It's okay to do things like that. Like if you got a club award of some sort, absolutely do it on video. I'd actually rather see you on video than the simple circle post, because you can tell your story about what you did. I didn't sleep for 20 nights just trying to get this one client in the house, loved on him to death, and the outcome was X. That's cool, right? That's what you want.
That's real.
Yeah, it is. And that's what people want. They don't want highly produced.
Let's see. So we already talked about, you think you have $10 million worth of listings. Let's see, what's the name of the company who shoots the listing videos?
I'll put that in the feed here. Catherine on my team, her husband runs the company. We mix things up a bit. I do a lot of my own footage because it's just, I'll be honest, it would be too expensive to do all of that. We had them do our agent videos, and he does all of my listing videos. I never, ever, ever, I mean, ever shoot my own videos for listings. My clients deserve better than that.
And what videos would you say perform the best? Your town tours or?
My highest performing video ever was a rant about Optimum Online and Verizon. And that one was off the charts. Reels have a tendency to get some wheels behind them. So reels that are short form, the satire ones, we just did a home inspector one, and that one caught a lot of views. I think across all platforms, it's got about 30,000 views.
Are you on TikTok?
No. Not my tribe, not my generation. And also I actually don't like all of the branding. And I'm also a believer that TikTok may be limited with its time if they don't clean up their act. So I love, though, CapCut, which is a TikTok product for editing. Best product out there for editing. If you guys want free editing software that's super easy to use, and there's tons of videos online, CapCut is the tool of choice. You should be using it.
And what percentage of your videos are like hardcore real estate topics versus kind of community events?
Probably 50-50. I blend up a lot. I blend up my fires. When I first got in the business, I didn't do anything with me being the fire department or me being a chief. I just didn't. And I realized that was a big mistake, because that's what makes you human. And it's part of my life, right? So people latch onto it, and I put them up mixed up with dog fostering and things that we do. Dog fostering, certainly some active posts. People love dogs. So but it's a blend, and I'd probably say 50-50. I'm very particular that I want people to know who I am and what I stand for. And it doesn't have to be a political message. It can be that, I'm a good, solid citizen of the towns that I operate in, and I want to send that message in every way possible.
See, Catherine's answering a lot of the questions here. For open houses, uses the Core Open House app.
Yeah, so we do not, maybe it's a little off topic, but we use the Open House app, and we only text back paperwork. We do not give printed copies in person. And the reason for that is it gives people an excuse to not get on our list or give us wrong information. And we ensure that we get the right information because we text them immediately when they register at the open house. And then, as you saw, we have the follow-up video campaign, which I showed earlier.
So we have a question. What's your background before getting into real estate?
So I'll call myself a serial entrepreneur. I started 2 other companies. The last one I sold for $91 million. The background is I was a chief information officer, and I did outsourcing services. So I was on the road 200 days a year, all over the globe, 100 countries, doing deals, mostly sales, but very, very technical in nature.
Do we have any other questions from the group?
So Rob, you want to maybe talk about the document that we're going to share?
I have a question.
I have a question, Rob.
Yeah.
Okay.
Glenn, let me ask you, you mentioned podcast. How did you incorporate that as well as the video?
So that's the newest piece I haven't even released it yet. I'm trying to get 3 full podcasts done before I start to publish them. I'm going to use a podcast syndication platform for it. But what we did was we used the studio, and I'm going to turn it around here for a second here. So you're going to see, this is the podcast area of the studio. It's a corner. It may look a lot bigger in the video, but what we've done is we set up 3 cameras on that, one on each person in the podcast and one centered one. And we have audio blending, which is a very sophisticated piece of equipment over there. We bring it all together into a feed. And when we start the podcast, we basically clap. All 3 of those sources get synced up in the software, because the clap syncs our audio, which is recorded separately from the video. And then we put it all together into one feed. It's very technical. I will say that is not your starting point for sure. It's not it's tough. I'm working through it right now.
Glenn, my question is, how much of TikTok are you using? Are you using it just editing wise? Are you using it as a platform to disseminate information?
No, so I don't use it at all. And I'm not against it. And I just recently got back on Twitter. I jumped it for a long, long time. Here's the reason why I don't. During COVID, the numbers that existed, I watched trends and numbers. TikTok had an extraordinarily high view count, but no one dialed your number. right? Whereas Instagram particularly has a very high engagement through DMs. And my Facebook tribe comes to me and I percentage of my business. So I track numbers very, very.
Glenn, can you unmute yourself? I just had to mute everybody.
1/4 of all of our business comes from video and social media. So that's inbound phone calls or messages that are leading to those appointments or sales. So I'm not a TikToker. I probably won't be. I'm not opposed to it. Everyone's got their tribe. Everyone's got their group. And I just didn't like, I don't know. I just didn't feel the platform. Instagram, love it to death. Love YouTube, loving YouTube Shorts as I'm getting into that more. And Facebook is where my primary tribe is, and it's loyal.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
We had a couple other questions before I go into the list. I'm going to post the list up now, Glenn, and if anybody has a question, just pop in.
Yep.
Let's see.
Trying to see if I missed any questions as well, Rob. I don't think I did.
Okay, entry level must have.
Yeah, so I'm just going to bring up this doc on mine. It's a little bit small on that screen there, unless you want to blow it up a little bit.
There you go.
Oh, okay, cool. So for in particular, like when you're doing lives on your computer, the Logitech Brio is a great cam. Like it's a great quality cam. If you're looking at yourself and you look dark or you look fuzzy, there you go. Click that link and buy it off of Amazon. Do yourself a favor. I'm a Mac person through and through. I will not use my Mac video from my laptop at all, unless I'm like, you know, I'm tied up with captors and I don't have a way to use anything else, because it's not adequate, whether you're on a Zoom call or not, and you're representing yourself at all times. So the selfie stick, it's important to have it and bring it with you, because if you want to pop up a video, remember that all you have to do to produce a video is pause, then do the video. So if you have your camera on your phone, you hit record, you can be putting it in the thing, you adjust it to look where you're going to look, make sure that it's zoomed in or in the right area. Then you go around the other side of the camera while it's recording, and then you just record. But what you have to do is you have to stop, smile. Hey, it's Glen Baker. I just wanted to say, because what you're going to do then is you're going to edit the front part out and you had the video recording. When you stop, you literally stop beforehand. Hey, thanks so much for visiting. Hope you have a great day. And then you leave a little brief pause so that you can cut the video back on both ends. And you could do that right on your phone, that editing. It's not even anything technical. You're just dragging your finger on the edit mode in the phone. If you do that on videos, you could set it up and go. And if you screw up, record it again. Just leave it and then edit it down. It's not that complex. The light ring, I just say that because bad lighting, just, you know, no one's watching the video. It's just, they don't care. They hate it. I have these, and note, I'm the Burden one that has glasses. When you're doing video, if I look up, you're going to see the reflection. So you have to be very cautious that you're not always having the reflection of those lights. And these glasses, I look like bubbles when I put these glasses on. So it's really hard to wear these. I can't read my screen effectively when I'm doing it. So I struggle with these things just like everybody else does. But look at your videos. When you put up a video, watch it, see what it looks like, and know what you like and what you don't like. Now, the whole entire, oh, my hair, my teeth, I didn't shave well today. Like, that doesn't matter. People care about seeing you, seeing your micro expressions, finding that you're genuine, and they're going to decide whether they know, like, and trust you.
Then you said temperature adjustment on the light ring?
Yeah. So temperature adjustment, I happen to be very pasty white. So you know, I have to make sure that I'm not too over exposed. So you manage the temperature and knock it down to be where you're comfortable.
Gotcha. You talked about the cell phone with a killer camera.
Yep.
Intermediate level add-ons.
Yeah. So there's if you notice, and I'm going to talk while I'm getting it. I didn't have it in front of me here. When you go out and you do video, you want the video to be stable, right? So when I said I carry a backpack, I literally carry this almost everywhere with me. In it is this is my selfie stick. So it's very small, fits in the backpack. And the best part about it is it goes to 6 feet tall and it's super stable. So that's why I put this in the feed, and it's really cool. It has a neat little bottom that spreads out feet and the whole 9 yards. When you're talking about the gimbal, So this is the DJI gimbal. It's a version back from the one that I'm showing you there. And what happens is this gimbal lets you put your cell phone in it, and it automatically stabilizes your cell phone so it's not moving around. It gives a cinematic effect. Best $130 you're ever going to spend if you use a cell phone. It works with any cell phone, and it basically gives you the ability to have a dramatic effect. If you want to keep it away from you, it has a built-in selfie sticks to get it away from you. DJI makes some good stuff. This is the one that I use and I carry everywhere with me. And I love it, absolutely love it. And the way that it works is it's a magnetic, and your phone basically attaches via the magnet. And this is super important if you're walking and doing a town tour, because no one wants to watch a video that goes up and down, right? No one wants to see that. So that's what this does for you.
So Glenn, I have a question for you. How are there clickable links in the PDF?
Oh, that's just so, you know, it's just a link. So when you're editing it, well, one, if you convert it from a Word doc that has the link embedded, it includes it right in there. I, for instance, do a lot of listing presentations. So I've done, and I know that everyone's going to be like, no, that doesn't happen in the real world. I've never been to a house, asked a few questions, had pictures sent to me by the listing person, the person who's asking me to sell the home. I've never visited the house, and I've sent them an email and got the listing without ever being in person. And that happens multiple times a year. The way I do it is I put together using, you know, the Present application through KV Core. I put together a listing presentation. I put the link in the body of the message. So I say, click here for your awesome marketing plan. Up above it, I have a BombBomb video explaining it in detail. And it could be a 2 to 5 minute video explaining how I got the comps, why I think it's the case, and thank you so much for your pictures. And then I've literally had people reply back and say, can you send me over listing paperwork? We're going with you.
Cool.
And the last thing on there is this, it's the mics. So when you're carrying the DJI Pocket, this is the case that I have for it. This camera, if you have to choose one camera that's not your cell phone, this is what you want. It's the only camera you'll need. It's 4K. It's a super cool camera, and it's super compact. So think how small this is. This is the camera. 4K camera. It does vertical or horizontal. We use this for everything that you see on Instagram that is horizontal, vertical format. We just turn the camera on its side, and this is our 4K camera that we use. And you could take this out on the street, walk around and just record, do town tours. I go on segways with it and stuff like that. And Rob, I mentioned to you the other day, if you think the power of social media isn't real, I put up that I bought a wing bike. It's an electric bike on social media. And I went to a dinner that night. 5 different people came up to me and said they ordered the bike based on what I said. And I said, I don't even have the bike yet. I haven't done anything on it. In fact, I'm just starting to ride the bike now. I got a call from Wing when I was looking for a power adapter. And they said, look, if you do your town tours riding the Wing bike, we'll give you $1,000 a month. So there's more marketing money I can put into the business just by riding their bike around, right? So what I'm going to do is I'll be riding the bike through the town. I'll have my drone locked onto me and following me from behind, and I'll have a helmet cam on, and I'll be doing the town tour and doing video that way. Now that's like the 501 class of video, but anything is possible if you just want to put a little effort into it and you want to do something unique. And I can't wait to put out the Wing bike videos. Those are going to be so cool.
How long have you been selling real estate?
3.5 years.
Wow.
All right, Glenn, I have a question for you. Like sometimes when I put out some video content, people will contact me about the content, but like it's harder to transition that to a real estate conversation. Like I put up like shelving recently and someone asked me the question as to where do I buy this shelving? And I had no idea where to buy the shelving. I just thought the shelving was cool. But then I had to do a little bit of research. But I want to know like what kind of dialogue are you implementing to kind of like make it a real estate conversation? Like what do you say afterwards?
You know, ironically, I don't. And maybe you answered the question for me. I just do the human connection, and it somehow comes back around. I'll answer it. I'll say, hey, here's a house I sold, and here was a really cool closet organizer or something. But I don't really, unless it goes that way, not everything's about real estate for me. It's about the human connection. If they're interacting with me, I look at it like it's the golden chalice. I'm like, man, I am so thankful someone watched my video and they're interacting with me, and I just interact with them at whatever level that is.
Okay.
How personal do you let them into your life?
Very.
Can you give me like example, please?
I just put up a video about grieving and loss. I lost 2 sisters to suicide. I'm very vocal about things. I'm a believer that you share everything you've got. And I had someone in my prior brokerage, they said, oh, I don't put that stuff out. I don't want anyone knowing anything about me. And while I was sitting at the conference room table, I did homework and I said, so your birthday was this, you lived here, here, and here. Do you want me to get your social security number? I need about 5 more minutes. The perception of privacy is silly. And look, I'm not saying do a video of you in the Bahamas when you're in the Bahamas and your house is not secure. Post it a week afterwards when you're home, right? I have people go to me, oh, you're in India? And I'm like, no, I was there 2 weeks ago, right? So be smart. I'm not saying don't, but share, because that's what makes you human. That's what makes people, like, I've gotten so many listings from dog fosters, people that love dogs and know that I take care of dogs and love them. It's just be human. And it's just, it's the coolest. I can't even tell you, like, this is not work. I mean, granted, writing contracts in this business, right, is work. This is just human interaction. And you have to take it as seriously as any other phone call or prospecting you do. Like, it's not casual. We have a plan. Like, we have a number of posts, and in the document Rob's going to share, it tells you what the optimal amount of posting a day is. And it's a lot. It's a lot of work.
There you go. This is all going to be available when this video process is puts on Abundance in Real Estate, and the link to this document with all this information will be put on there. And when you go there,
I'm sorry. Last question. How many new videos do you do a week?
It goes in spurts. I would say nothing less than probably in a sitting. I did 20 in about an hour the other day, and then I'll edit them up and they'll be released 3 a day. But 20 is simple. Like, hey, if you're looking to, like, as is, I haven't written the as is script, but I'm going to say, hey, you know, there's opportunity with as is and selling a home as non as is, and there's a plus and a minus to it. I'm going to talk to you about the realtor side. I'm going to talk about the seller side. Like, I'm literally just going to talk like I would talk to somebody at an appointment, right? And I look at it like that's the way that I do my video. So for me, it's pretty simple. Once I get rolling, and the team has found this with the studio, you sit down, you'll record 15 videos in an hour, easy. They just flow.
And once you know, it's a process. You have to get used to that process, and then it really flows. Otherwise, it's like you have writer's block, you know, or if you're uber critical, you'll never post any video, right? You have to just get started and then improve with it.
Yeah, my team will tell you when we're on our calls each day, I have two things I say to them all the time. The opposite of perfect is done. You're going to sit there and worry about your hair. You're going to worry about everything else while the world didn't see the message you had to get out, right? And that the valuable message you did because you were worried about that. Nobody cares. And the other is just send it. Like, I had one day, I walked out of the house and I said goodbye to my wife, did 3 videos with a bunch of people, and I had a big black smudge on my face in all 3 live videos. They were out in the world immediately, and I didn't care. And the best part was it turned into a joke. And if you think this is so, 3 weeks ago, I was ill, I was sick. And I lost about 10 pounds while I was sick, right? People were calling me asking if I was okay because they watched my video and they knew what I looked like and they knew I lost weight and they were like, is everything okay? Like, that's an audience, right? Like, that's really cool.
Yep. So let me, we're out of time. We have one last question before we wrap this up. All right, I'm gonna do this. I downloaded this while we were on here, Glenn. Let's see.
And Rob, I'll make an offer. I don't care whether you're local or remote. I'll do a video with anybody. I love it, Rob. But I'll do a video with anybody. And if you need to get, I know I'm going to be doing one with Scott Kaplan, and we're going to be doing a Florida and New Jersey thing. And I'm going to be like, New Jersey's got great water. That's why we have good pizza and bagels. And he's going to go, I have great water, and he's going to be sitting on a beach with a margarita or something. Like, we're going to do a plus and minus video, and we're not going to be together at all, but we're going to do the video and slam it together in a live. So I'll do a video with anybody. If you've got something of value to share, hit me up, and I'll do it with anybody.
So the first step is just to get started, and once you get started, then you can progress. And geez, Glenn, I've been doing this for a long time, and I'd say for the past 8 or 10 years, they're saying video is the next thing. Video is more than necessary now to kind of grow your business where you need it to be and make life a little bit easier. So I thank you so much, Glenn, for contributing here. I'm impressed by what you do, and hopefully everybody on here really enjoyed it. And go back to the Abundance in Real Estate, and you'll see the show notes with all Glenn's recommendations. Thank you, brother.
Feel free to reach out, everyone. Take care. Have a great day.